Okay. So can someone please confirm if he or she can actually see my first screen with my full name body written on? Okay. So as it was rightfully said already, I'll be taking us through this section using Data Studio by Google. I'll be heavily dwelling on covered data as it is we have currently, which is one of the main topics that's actually going on. It's insightful for me because we can now all relate to whatever that is happening across the world. So by the time I am done with this section, I'll try so much to run through all these objectives. I'll attempt to show us how to style our dashboard, show us how to use scorecards, help us to brand that visualization dashboard as it is we want to be able to use. I'll try to put in some advanced features, show us how to collaborate on projects when we are working maybe from the office and you need other people to be able to work on the same projects. Now that COVID had actually taught us to work remotely. You now do not need people to physically be in the same space with you to be able to work on the same document as it is you are working on. This is one of the reasons why I prefer to use Data Studio as the point of interest for anybody as it is I am teaching them data analysis. So I started getting to know some of the bases. Like I said, I would try to answer some of the questions why Data Studio, which I even though I've attempted to do same, show us some of the features Data Studio actually really has, whether they are charts, pie charts, and all the flavors of data as it is one can actually use when using Data Studio. So in my digital space, you can find me on Twitter on SteveDoc. And then if you want to send me any email after this presentation, you can actually reach me at mawutor@stevedoc.com. So before I delve deeper into my session, one of the things I like to talk about when talking to other people currently is that we've always heard that data is a new gold, data is a new oil. But what can we do with that data when it's not refined? So that would mean that you can have a lot of data that is set around, but if that data is actually not processed as it is you might have in crude oil, we might not be able to make sense out of it. So now knowing that everything revolving around the world is actually data, like I said in my last presentation, that from the day you actually even buy your mobile device or any device as it is you buy, from the time you unbox the device from its box of packaging and then you power it through the charging cable, you've actually started creating data. You've actually created data on the first time you ever charged that phone when you bought it, the first time you turn it on, the first app you actually opened, the app you use most frequently, how you interact with that device. Those are all data. But if one does not have so much insight on that data, then you might just be creating the data and not be knowing what important information you might actually really be finding in that data. But we are currently living in a generation now where digitalization has actually taken over. That also means that we are generating data as long as it is we wake up from our beds and then interacting with any electronic or digital devices in the day. And some of those data can actually be huge at the end of the day, and one cannot actually be able to use their naked eye to be able to find that insightful information as it is you might have found if you were using any data analysis tool, not only Data Studio by Google. So one would ask the question, what is data visualization? Before we actually even delve forward in the presentation, because one would want to know, why do I even need data visualization? Is it even really important for me to visualize that data? Or in our academic setting, we want to say, what is the definition for visualization? So in very simple terms, I like to put it, data visualization is only the graphical representation of that information as it is you might have had, and being able to connect the two. So if we have that sort of huge data, which under normal circumstance you couldn't have used your naked eye to be able to tell the meaning in that data. Data visualization will actually give you a very graphical representation. If you see my next screen, which actually show you a snippet of other graphic information as it is, you can realize that it is easy for you to be able to either pinpoint a trend or be able to find out whether something is doing well, or be able to point out an information easily. This is what data visualization is about. It helps you to be able to put a graphical meaning to that data that you might actually really have. So why Data Studio? Or what is even Data Studio or Google Data Studio? Google Data Studio, as it is it defines by its so many technology blog pages, they tend to define Data Studio by Google to be a cloud-based business intelligence service that helps us to be able to, like as I said, have the graphical representation or graphical meanings to whatever data as it is we might be able to have with so much ease, so that we can actually have smart decisions when we are having business meetings, or being able to find that insight when we're having a research program. So in Data Studio, you notice that we are able to do complex items. You can see that from this screen as it is, we have from the topmost right corner, you will notice that you can see dates happening or trends data, where you can actually know the trends in data. You can, even without a GIS knowledge, you are able to still create geographical representation of the data as it is you have with just a click of a button. Data Studio is actually really dynamic. You can actually change whilst the data is really changing. And so whilst as it is you feed it that data, you don't necessarily have to come back to the dashboard as it is you have. If you have a dynamic data that actually change over time. So in my presentation, I'm going to show us how to also build a dynamic dashboard where, as long as the data changes, so as it is we have right now, we are having COVID cases being counted, on hourly or daily basis. So whilst that data is changing, you don't need to come back into Data Studio, or you don't need to come back to your dashboard to be changing the figures as it is changing. So I am going to connect the dashboard whilst it is we are going to a dynamic source of data that will actually cause the data as it is I am having to be refreshing as the data is changing. So as long as the data in the source file or the source page or the website actually really changes, whatever information you have in your studio will also change alongside. So to be able to demonstrate that, I'll be connecting to one of the COVID analysis website where they actually post the worldwide COVID data. So I'll be feeding that information.
Okay, so Mawutor,
Hello, please.
where should they go? Should they go to, because I want them to also practice whilst you do it?
Yes, so I'm going to get to that point where I'll share the entire resources on what I'll be using. And so every resource or file that it is I'm going to use on today's section will actually be shared for everybody to use, so that they can actually go or play along whilst I teach the section.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that reminder. So I think you just got in at the right time. So I'll do a quick demo of what it is we are expecting for the next an hour and a half, 2 hours on this section. So the reason why I want to do a quick demo will be to help you have that insight, or be able to whet your appetite on things that it is you can do with ease. So I'm going to attempt to do whatever it is I'm going to do in about less than 10 minutes to create a quick dashboard using a file I already have. So one of the things that you also need to be mindful of in data analysis is that before that data you want to analyze, you should have done a pre-cleaning of the data as it is you have. So as it is, Madam Tofa really pointed out, all the files as it is I'm going to use in this presentation will actually be found at ds for ts /tiny.cc. So if you go to tiny.cc /ds for ts, it will give you a link to download the entire folder on all the files as it is I'll be using today. So I'm just leaving this for about 5 seconds more Then I'll switch in between my screens to have a quick demo on what you need to be able to do. So for one to be able to have access to the Google Data Studio, one, you need to have a registered and activated Gmail account. And so once you have a Gmail account, you are allowed to actually use Data Studio as and when, as it is you have it. One of the things as it is had said is that Data Studio is actually a cloud-based. That would mean that you only have to be online. That's one of the downsides you can actually have using Data Studio. You cannot have a desktop version as it is we have currently. But aside those two downtimes as it is you have, which can directly be proportional to your data connectivity, that means that when you're in an environment where you have weak data connection, not like really weak data connection, because there are times where I've been on 3G or 2G and it still works fine for me. But when you have maybe on an edge or something, then you might have challenges trying to use Data Studio. But aside it's customizable as much as it is you want to be able to customize Data Studio. It's easy to use as it is, I said earlier. You don't need any coding skills, which is much exciting for me that in this case, one can actually analyze some data without even learning or having any pre-knowledge in coding to be able to do that. And most importantly, it is scalable. So I'll switch to my demo screen now. I don't know if you have any questions yet. Whilst I am switching between screens, you can please let me know, Mustafa.
So I have sent the links to the resources. Please download it, and then the link to the Google Studio as well. Please, you can click on it and you're good to go.
Thank you for that, Madam Tofa. Okay, so I'll do a little bit of less talking. Because this is just to show you a demo, a quick insight about what it is we are expecting going forward. So for this instance, I'm just going to upload a file as it is I have to be able to create the first analysis or the first dashboard as it is I would want to show all of us. And then from there, furthermore, I'll then show us how to now manage or either brand the templates as it is you want to be able to do, how to collaborate on the same documents, how to add or embed videos and all that. So I'll just do a quick demo on what it is we have. So for this instance, I would do a quick upload. So
is the file from any of the resources you shared?
Yes. So all the resources I've shared. So I'm using the coronavirus world status. So when you would input the data, Data Studio actually processes the data that you are inputting for a while. And then when it is done, you notice the status button will change to green. If there are problems with it, you might have difficulty in doing that. But whilst it is done processing, you can then add the data to our working space, and then we are good to go. So this is as easy as uploading your CV for any application as it is. You can see, you don't need any skills to actually upload that file. For this instance, I dragged and dropped the file into Data Studio. So this is how Data Studio actually really looks like on the surface of this. It tries to pull the data as it is by itself, but this is not what it is I want to do. So I'll just delete this information and then be able to add whichever information as it is I want to add. So I'm going for it because I've added data for COVID for April 2020. What I'm just going to do will just be to find out which were the 10 most hit countries around that time, be able to create a geomap of all that data as well, add a little logo, add a scorecard as well, and then we'll be good to go. So I would add a table.
Martha, somebody is asking, can you quickly go over how you uploaded the data and then how you quickly got the data into it? Because when you have a Gmail, I think the person saying, when you have the Gmail, it gives you the blank, the trial reports, Acumen. Where do you upload the data?
So one of the things I said for this section is just to give them a quick overview of what it is we are expecting. In my next 2 slides, I will take them step by step and even explain what the button means. Yes, and then what it is. So just for you to see what it is we are expecting, what can actually really be done going forward. Yeah.
Cool.
So okay, so you notice that I am limiting the data counts to just 10. Total cases, I'm using matrix country, good. The next thing will be to add no, not this, the geomap. So now that I've added a chart of all the countries per the record as it is I've uploaded, now I want to add a geomap of that data as well, so that we can actually see where the hit is happening the most around the world. So just with a click of a button, I can actually have a geomap added to my dashboard as it is I want to have. So currently, as it is, I have on the left side, I have a chart or a table of all the statistics as it is per the information as it is I have actually uploaded into the data. And then we have a world map data as well of the data that's I've actually uploaded into Data Studio. So if I enlarge this a bit, you will notice that when I do a quick view of this data that it is I have added, and I hover around any of the countries, you'll notice that their statistics actually pop up. You will need some amount of GIS skills to be able to have this embedding or this functionality in any data tool as it is you want to be able to have. But Google Data Studio makes it much easier for me or for anyone using the tool to be able to just have it done by just a click of a button. So you notice that if I go to US around April 2020, they had over 100,000 cases. If I come down to Ghana, we were somewhere around 195 cases and so on. So you notice as well that there is also a color grid that is happening beneath. That means that the deeper the color, the more intense the COVID cases really happen. So what I'll do will be I'll quickly add a scorecard. So scorecards can actually also be a way of maybe laying more or tray more emphasis on the data that you already have in the data, so that people can easily relate with that data that you are working working with. Okay, so you notice that I have total cases. I can add more scorecards, maybe add total dev cases. Okay, so I have these two scorecards as it is. We currently have, per the data as it is, I have added. I would then add a quick image. So, like I said, Data Studio tries to make a lot of things for the user as much as possible. So even if you do not have maybe already images that you have sitting on your machine, what you can actually do would also be to quickly just look for an image online, copy the URL for that image, and then insert same, and the image would just quickly appear for you. So I need one more word icon. So all I'm just doing currently is me inserting images into the artwork as it is. I am having, I think I'm going to choose this. File. This looks too big for me. Have this. Okay. But aside you using the URL to be able to bring the image that it is you are looking for onto the page, you can equally bring the image from your machine if you already have the image sitting on your machine. So you notice that I've added two icons to our scorecard just to throw more lights on that as it is. I want to be able to have. Hello, Ms. Tova, do we currently have any questions? Or now
no, not yet. We don't have any question, but someone asked, please, is there any way we can get further explanation on something that wasn't well understood? So yes, I mentioned, as I mentioned, step by step how everything was done. Those that will need geospatial skills, I think that we find time and teach them exactly what they need. But now they want to know how you were able to do all this from the beginning, process by process. And please, if you have questions, oh, please, I don't understand this session. I don't understand. Please, that's why we are
here. Okay, sure.
Kindly put it on the session.
I didn't hear the last one you stated.
Oh, the last one, I said they should put their questions in the chat box, maybe to everyone or personally to me, and I will read it out.
Okay. So I'll do a quick view for us to see where it is we've gotten to. So you notice that this has been quick for me to do. I've added data. I'm not looking at how perfect the data is, just to show you that we can actually do this in a very short time. So I'll do a last one where I'll just also add a quick hand wash challenge that had happened some time back when this pandemic actually really started. So I'm just going to take a YouTube video that was done by the American Embassy, and then actually embed it into the dashboard as it is we have. So why I'm doing all this is for you to know that Data Studio actually gives you that ability to do as much as it is you want to be able to do from just clicks of buttons. So you notice that I just had to copy the URL, embed as it is. I was embedding the you can reposition if you want to, and then I can do a quick view. And so you would notice that this is actually my entire dashboard. This is actually live right now. This dashboard can actually be shared with any other person. The video actually will work if I actually click on it, and this is actually my dashboard. I can actually invite people to also collaborate on this document if we were actually working together on the same project, and we do not need to be in the same physical space. So now that I have shown us a quick demonstration of some of the things as it is we can do, I know some of us might already know that we have pie charts, the donuts, the time series, but I'm going to explain all those procedures one after the other, because without those explanations, you might not be able to understand what it is you are doing in Data Studio. So I'm going to switch back to my presentation, and then we would continue from there. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to answer all the things as it is that were coming up now that we are done with the demo. So if you notice, like, some of the questions that people were asking, how are they able to input or add that data into Data Studio, or how was I able to add? This is the process that actually really happened. So there are actually 4 major processes. So we have the reporting. So the reporting is just basically all that it is you were seeing me view after the end of the day, adding all the things I needed to be able to add. But most importantly, in the file as it is, I was acting in its raw state is what it is we would refer to as the data set. So if I, in the presentation, refer to anything as a data set, you should know that I am referring to that raw data file that probably is sitting on your desktop or already on the internet. Data Studio also gives the flexibility to be able to connect or import data from different environments or different tools. So we are able to use the Google Sheet, we're able to use Google Analysis from Facebook, Instagram, Big Data, SQL, and all that data can actually be imported directly into the Data Studio. We have data source. So I'm jumping to data source so that I'm able to show us the clear distinction between both of them so that we don't get, even though they look similar, but they are actually not. So immediately we import that data into Data Studio, it now becomes the data source for us as it is we are going to work on in Data Studio. So that data as it is we are going to have sitting in Data Studio currently. One, we may either have the opportunity to edit it if there's something as it is we need to be able to edit whilst we have already inputted the data, which we didn't edit whilst it was sitting on the machine. Or we may actually leave it if it is fine. So you notice that the first data as it is are actually imported. I didn't touch the data. I didn't clean the data. I just took the data from my machine. I straight into the application, and I was actually working on same. So then we'll come to connectors. So the connectors are actually that enabling environments or tools that allows a user to be able to input that data or import that data from whatever source you want to be able to have them from. And Data Studio actually gives the user quite some number of data connectors for one to be able to use. These are one of the well-defined ones from Google itself, even though we have over 145, if my memory serves me right, of other third-party applications that also are able to still import data into Data Studio. So from what it is we have currently, like I said, you are able to import that file you have sitting on your machine. You're able to get that data if it's already sitting in Google Analysis or Google Ad. If it's in BigQuery, SQL, or whatever it is, even if it's YouTube analysis data series you want to be able to now bring into this tool, you're able to equally do same. Whilst we are going deeper, I want us to be mindful of one of these fields, because I've seen certain people that I try to guide in data analysis make some fundamental mistakes. So I decided to bring it on the screen once again. So the main thing as it is, I want us to look out for is how you arrange your data when you want to analyze your data, because that can actually give you a hell of a time when the data is not properly arranged. So every data file or every file will actually have rows and columns. And most importantly, when you are having your records, you want to have the records in your rows and not in the columns, so that you don't miss the two. So you see the two examples as it is I've actually given. So you have the field columns and then the rows. So you notice that when I pick one of the rows, I have the entire record on Ghana on that row. Then it's easier for you to analyze. But when you do the vice versa, sometimes it can be difficult when you want to be able to find an insight or be able to have that data as it is you want. So if you invert that data currently where you have maybe country date, total cases dev on your right side sitting in the columns, they now have other things in the rows. It can really become messy for you going forward. In Data Studio, we would have this confusions. I'm still wrapping my head around them because sometimes I miss them. I get an error because then I remember, then I go and correct them. So you want to take notice of this. So there are two major things we are going to be talking about, maybe the intersections, which are the dimensions and matrices. So one looks like the other, but it's not. So when you take like dimensions, so we can have dimensions which are basically things that it is you cannot measure on the scale. But matrices are things that can actually be measured. So if you talk about maybe the prices of stuffs, the current GDP rates, the dollar rates, the corona count cases, those are things that can actually be counted on or measured on the scale, but dimensions cannot. And dimensions basically will stand for when you have maybe male, female, country, colors, unique identities or unique numbers. So there are instances where maybe you may have numberings on my left where I have the red pointer number 1, 2, 3. Even though they are numbers, we cannot measure this on the measuring scale. Why do I say this? 2 is not twice the value of 1, or 3 is not 3 times the value of 1. They are just numbering to be able to identify the rows or the columns as it is we have respectively, and they do not have anything to play or to affect the data. Those are just unique identities. So if I have things like maybe staff IDs, they are not matrices, they are actually dimensions. If I have maybe records that actually give, maybe if I take, like currently in Ghana, we are having the national identity cards. So all those unique numbers, if they were actually lined up in one section of the data, we'll refer to them as dimension because they are just unique identities to whatever assets we have, but they do not depend on any of the other rules. Having to get that out of the way. If somebody gets confused alongside, or maybe I get confused myself, somebody should please prompt me so that maybe we all learn together. So, like I said, today would heavily be drawing our analysis on COVID data. And the COVID data as it is, I'm going to pull out, going to come from the worldometers information. This website have done quite well, where they have actually kept track of all the current COVID data around the world, whilst it is they are actually being unraveled. So the first instance, I used one method to be able to pull data into Data Studio. But in this time round, I'm going to add a dynamic data. It means that I do not have the data currently sitting on my device. I'm going to actually borrow the data from a different source. So I'm going to go to the website. You can actually visit the website anytime after this you have. So I think it's World Mawutor coronavirus cases. So in one of the advantages it is, you heard me listed, was to say that Google Data Studio also enable one to have dynamic data dashboards. So dynamic in the sense that now I am going to embed this data into my dashboard. I do not own this data currently as it is. I'm taking it from a source. And all these data sets we have here, one, you can either copy all this and go and paste in an Excel file and continue to do that. But that will mean that you only have the current data as the data when you copy them. But I do not want to go through that hurdle. So all I'm going to do is that I am going to embed this data directly into my dashboard, so that anytime there is a change in these figures, it's going to affect the dashboards automatically. I don't need to do anything. There'll be an opportunity to set a timer on the dashboard to refresh when it can actually collect the data from the site, and or to listen to the data to the website to find out if anything on the website had actually or currently changed. And to be able to do this, I am going to use a combination of two things. One, importing this data into a Google Sheet file. And then from Google Sheet file, I'll then now connect it into Data Studio. And so to be able to import this data, I'll head straight to my Drive folder. And so Google Data Sheets is also just one of the resources Google also have, which also enable people to be able to have collaboration online, depending on whichever document as it is you want to be able to get. So I'll just create a blank Google sheet, which is basically an Excel sheet, which we are familiar with. Most of the functionalities as it is we have on Google Sheets are basically the same. So the first thing I'll do will be to name give my file a name. Okay, so I'll go back to my slide. Okay, so this is where as it is, I'm going to collect the data from, or embed that data from. So currently, as it stands today, it was edited yesterday. We have US topping the entire world population of COVID, total cases, which they are currently standing at 35 million positive cases. They have a total deaths over 600,000. They have a total recovery of about 29 million. You can have this on almost all the countries where they have actually been able to collect this data. So to import this data into the working space as it is I have stated. I created this sheet. Let me increase the page so that you see what I type. So to be able to import this data, this is the formula to use to import the data. So this is just a function that will work in Google Sheet. So the first thing would just be to import the HTML from a website and then state the table and then its number. So basically you notice that this is just the website I visited. So www. As it is I entered or have in the browser. And then because it is a table, and this will work most beautifully on tables, if the data you have on the website is in PDF, like we have in certain cases, that wouldn't work because it will not be able to convert the PDF file directly into the Google Sheet or Excel format for you. So most importantly, this will only work on websites that have their data in tables, as it is you can actually really see.
Okay, so Mawutor, the data, the other one that you gave in Google Sheets, will you get there where you'll be able to embed data from there? So
which one, the first data file I use?
Yes, assume we have the data on our machines. So this one, you are teaching us how to import the data if it's online, where we can reference the specific table we want, the website and the table we want to.
Yes. So even though the first one was a demo, I had also shown how to actually import data from your machine onto Google Data Studio by just going to upload a file, copy the file, or drag and drop the file, or go to your desktop, find the file location, and then be able to add and then upload. That is the first option.
Okay.
The second option, so maybe after this, I'll just quickly run through that again. So this option, I do not have the file sitting on my machine, but because I want to embed a dynamic data onto my dashboard, so the data will change on my dashboard as and when the source data changes. Okay. So there are functionalities where I can actually embed the entire workspace or the dashboard onto my website or any other websites. By so doing, once I am done with my visualization, how beautiful as it is, I want it to be. I took it to suit me or the organization. I can change the colors and do everything to that data, embed that data. But because I am not the one contributing to it, whilst the source file is changing, automatically whatever is on my website will also change.
Okay.
Okay, but if I had imported it directly from my machine or from a file into Data Studio, now it becomes static. Whatever data I imported at that point will only be what it is, will be available for. Yes. So I'll go back to the formula as it is I state we are going to use. So if I go to Google Sheets, like make it more bigger. So the formula will be equal to import HTML. I open my bracket. Sorry. So HTML, I open a quotation.
Mawutor, someone is asking a question. What about importing Excel sheets for analysis and visualization? I think that's what you did, right? The first one.
Yes.
So you can okay, please go ahead.
Sorry. So Google Data Studio does not accept Excel files directly, format files. So you would have to convert that file into a CSV file. So it's just basically just going, after you've done your data or cleaning your data in Excel, just go to File, Save As, and then there is CSV, that is comma separated values in your save options. And then to save it into a different file, then you can import that file into Google Data Studio. I hope the person understands what I mean. So I am bringing the websites, which is I just went to copy the website and I pasted. Okay, so comma, like I stated, it's a table. Comma, the value is 1 close. So you notice that it has run the script as it is. I have asked it to. So you notice that if I zoom back, you notice all the data we currently have on this website. Now I have in my Google Sheet. So if you want to cross it, line number 10, you notice that USA currently has over 35,923 cases. If I go to the website, you notice it's the same value as it is we have. So every data as it is we have here, their table have been imported into my Google Working Sheet currently. And this data is actually dynamic. If there is any change that happens on that website, it's going to affect this data automatically. I don't need to come back to run the script back again. Once it is you've done it once, you are good to currently go. So the formula to use again is equal to import HTML brackets, your quotation, you put the URL link or the website address into that quotation. You open another new quotation after a comma. I put a table and then 1, and then it will import that data file for you appropriately. So now that the data file has been imported, I'm yet to put it or import it back into Data Studio because I'm not in Data Studio yet. But before that, I'll do a basic cleaning of the data here, what I need only. Okay, so I'm just going to take out everything as it is I do not want. And then only what it is I need will be taken to Data Studio. So if you notice here, the row 2, we have North America, Asia, Europe, Africa, and all that, just giving extra information on the statistics on the website. I would actually just hide the entire fields I do not need because I only want data on the individual countries, and all this, I do not need them in my analysis. So I'll just hide them. You do not need to delete them, with the reason that when you delete the file and then there's a refresh of the same page, those informations will come back. So most importantly, what it is you want to do will be to just hide them. So in Data Studio, there's an option where you can instruct Data Studio not to import any hidden rows or columns as it is in the file you are currently importing. So I would scroll down. There are some extra information beneath. I also do not need. I would hide this as well. Yeah, so cover data, let me just add 20. Now this data is done. This is how it is I want the data that I want to be able to work on. So now in Data Studio, I'll be able to either generate a geomap, I can generate a heat map, I can do a table, a bar chart, a pie chart, donut, whatever analysis as it is I want to do. I can do a series trends analysis on this data as it is we have here to find if there are any trends in the data where there's a spark or not, just based on this data as it is I've imported. So I'll go back to Data Studio and so before I go and start what it is I want to do, I'll track back one step because of the question that had come about 3 times. So the first demonstration, to be able to bring a data from your desktop or a file you already have, if it's Excel, like I said, convert the file into a CSV format. and then that CSV file you can now import into Google Data Studio. So I'll go to create and then create a report. And so when you create a report, what happens is that it will bring up all the connectors that are available to be able to use. So Google has about 18 connectors you can have. Like I said, okay, so the numbers have actually jumped. So the partner connectors are over 400. So you can actually connect as well. This is dependent on where the data is. But for this instance, because we have the data locally on our machine, I'll use the upload a file option. So the upload a file option gives you the opportunity to bring in any data you have sitting on your machine. So when I go to upload a file, I have two options, whether I want to click and upload a file, where I'll go and look for the file on my machine. So if I click to upload, I'll just click to upload. So I go to my desktop. I think I have it somewhere in Google, where is G? Google Data Studio, I have my data file. I used this, so I just choose, that's the first option there. The other option I did first was to drag and drop, which also works. You just drag the file and drop the file, and then it works. Like I stated, the file will process itself. When it is done processing, the status will turn green, and then now you can add the file. Like I set it. So now my file is added. If you see, so I can do, so my dimension is country. My matrix, I can use total cases. This is just all as it is I did, and I changed the number of preview to 10. So this is how to bring a file from your desktop or a local machine onto the tool. And from here, you can actually create any of this or use any of these functionalities to be able to manipulate the data as it is you have, whether you want to create the time series, the bar charts, there are about 6 formats as it is you can create. There's a pie chart options where you have the solid or the normal standard one or the donuts version, and then the geomap as it is you have as well. So having done out of the way, I will just add a new page. And or let me just go back so that people don't get confused. So now that I have cleaned my data here as it is I want, I used the script import the HTML file from the website. I added a URL link, the table, and then one. And then this came, if you notice, like from the top, there were certain sections that it is I didn't want. So I used the hide option to hide all those sections I do not want. Okay, so now that I am ready, I go to Data Studio because now I want to import this data into Data Studio. So I'll go to create a report again. The create report and if you notice, you have two options. Any of them basically works. When you go to file, when you go to Data Studio, when you go to create, either data source or create reports, most of them will work. But most importantly, I like to teach people by using the fundamental steps to be able to get to wherever it is you want to get to. When you now understand how to now maneuver the procedures, then you can now go from where as it is you want to be able to go. So in this instance, I'm not going to use the file upload again. I'm going for Google Sheet. This done the difference. So I'll go to Google Sheet. And basically, you notice that as long as I have my name still logged in, or the folder or the Gmail file as it is email as it is I am using. It actually works across. So you should ensure that whatever Gmail you are using for the Google Sheet should still be the same one you have used to connect into your Data Studio. So I'll look for my covered data. What was the file name I used? Data. Okay, so it's here. So you notice that once you refresh, it has popped up. So yeah, there's this sheet 1 only I am using. So this is the option as it is. I had said earlier that you have the option to uncheck or instruct Data Studio not to include the hidden or the filter cells. So for instance, I've made some cells or rows to hide, or I've hidden some of them. So I'm going to uncheck this so that those options will be excluded anytime there's a refresh on the page. So I will add the data. So once I've added the data, most of the times this will pop out for you, but this is not what I basically want. So most importantly, you can delete it. You should know what it is you want to be able to do. So I'll name the file COVID data 20. Okay. So in up to this stage, Madam Tofa, I don't know if somebody has any question or something they would want me to throw light on. Hello, Ms. Tofa. Hello. It's someone still hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. So I'll go ahead. Now that as it is, we've imported the data into Data Studio, there are certain things as it is, I'll start to explain for us to understand going forward and how to get to some of the places you want to get to, so that you can actually have a total control over the visualization or the dashboard as it is you want. So when you import your data into Data Studio, you can actually also edit or manipulate the data a bit before you do whatever analysis you want to do based on the data you have. And to be able to do that, you go to Resources and go to Manage Added Data. So you notice that this is the current data as it is we have. And to do that, we just go to Edit. Okay. So for this instance, it has brought all the dynamics data to the left and try to state whether they are matrices or not, or define them accordingly, and whether it's a number, whether it's just a text, a country, or whatnot have you in the second section. You notice that it has added one more metric, which is called the record count. But for this section of data visualization or for this demo, we do not require record count. The reason we do not require this is that it will not be relevant for whatever analysis as it is we are going to use, but it would be in certain other cases. In certain cases where the record count becomes relevant will be when maybe you are working with a sales department and the sales department have one person making multiple sales. So maybe you want to find out how much sales did Stephen make over a month or over a year, then the record count becomes relevant. But in this case, every country actually appears once and do not come multiple times on whatever it is they are doing. So since we do not need the record count, I would hide this option again. I would also go to the top where you see a hash, which is where the script was actually inputted in the Excel sheet. So this as well, we do not need in the analysis as it is. You want to be able to do so. I would hide that section as well. So one of the things as it is I said will be to pay attention to the fact that we have things defined appropriately as it is they come or they appear. To know that when you have total test cases, you want to make sure it is a number and not text or any other thing, so that when you are running the analysis, you are able to get the required resources as you need. You notice I stated that you are able to fetch the data as and when you require them. So in manage your data that has been added right now, you notice that you have your data refreshness. And this has been set to 15 minutes. So what it will mean is that after every 15 minutes, it would go to the Excel file and then find out has any of the data there changed. If it is changed, it will update accordingly. And the Excel file also actually gets its data right from the website. So as and when the data on the website changes, the Excel file gets updated, and then the data in Data Studio also gets updated accordingly. So you can decide to change this from 15 minutes to every hour to every 4 hours to 12 hours. I'll leave it at 12 hours because most of covered data actually gets updated, I think most importantly, after 24 hours or something else. So I'll just set it to the maximum, which is 24 hours. So that as and when that data gets refreshed or updated, it would be accordingly. You have this option as well, which is called the community visualization. This option allows the user to be able to make visible the data as it is we have. This data has no private data, it is already public knowledge. So it is okay to leave it on, but if you are working on personalized data, you're working on data from a company, you're working on a sensitive data that has information that you don't need to go out, I would advise you need to turn the community visualization, the data off. Now that we've gotten that two options out of the way, I would also show us if in case we need certain field that is not already in the Excel file. Like I stated, everything here changes automatically whilst the website changes, but there may be some fields you require that is not on the website. Are you able to add it? Yes. So what is going to happen is that whatever addition we do here only would stay in Data Studio, but not affect the Excel file. That's why in explaining the slide that has the data sets and the data sources, I was saying that in certain cases, your data sources, you might have the option of manipulating them or not. For this instance, I'm going to manipulate the data that I've actually imported into Data Studio by adding two more fields. So one, I would want to add a field that does the total case counts for the entire world, to know how much has the world got into, how many positive cases had actually the world arrived at. So in this case, I'll just give it a title, total number of, let me just write total cases. And this is going to be worldwide cases. The field ID, I most importantly leave them same, since it does not affect the analysis as it is doing, but just a way to keep check of what it is that is going on. And to be able to add that summation app will mean that even though we have individual countries that have total cases, now I want to have the entire world. What is the total number of cases worldwide? Okay, so to have that, we just use the formula sum. Okay, when you hit the tab key, it opens the bracket for you. And then we choose what options we have. So we have total cases. Okay. When you do that, you notice there is a check sign that has come or turned green right beneath the formula series I am writing. This will only turn green when the formula you are actually writing makes sense or it's correct to the platform. So now that I have that out of my way, I have added one field called total number of cases. And so I just need to save that. Oh, sorry, I need to go back. So you notice that has been added right below total number of cases. Okay, so we can also find the death rate, which was also not added to the Excel file from the website. So we can actually find out what was or what is the death rate per each country. And so in this case, you notice that the total number of cases is just going to be a single value in one of the cells. But the next one, as it is, we are having, we actually created an entire column where we are finding the death rate of each country or country by country. And it's the same procedure. I'll go to add file. And for this instance, it's just going to be my total number of cases. So that would be total cases divided by, so total death cases, total death cases divided by total cases to give us the death rate for each country. You notice that has also turned green. So I'll just name in death rate. And then I'll save. Now I have added two fields to the data as it is. You can see I've added the death rate. I've added total number of cases worldwide, two different scenarios. One gives me, or had actually added an entire column or an extra column to the data by adding the death rates of each individual country. But the total cases just adds a single value where it sums out the total number of cases or active cases around the world into one cell. So we have actually done that, and then we can resume back into Data Studio now and start the analysis as it is we want to be able to have. So I can decide now to say that I want to add a bar chart. Okay. So just click. Okay. So now that I have added the bar chart, you notice that if you see entirely from the cover data, this actually has been arranged from who has the topmost cases. When I come, you'll notice that with my bar chart, I have US that's currently leading with the highest case for 2021. And this table can actually be manipulated or tweaked around howsoever as it is you want. So now going forward, I'm just going to teach us how to do individual stuffs and not concentrating how to create the entire dashboard. But at the end of the day, most importantly, it will be for you to understand how to use the tools so that at your own time, you are able to combine any tools, different tools, to be able to help you build that beautiful dashboard. So now I'm currently having, how do you call it? A bar chart that is showing the countries as my dimensions, as it is as stated. So you notice that whilst I picked the bar chart, I have two options of items that have come out. So there is the data, and then there is the styling. Okay, so I'm going to teach us a quick way to either style the bar chart or a table. And this will apply to any other thing as it is you want to be able to do going forward. So like I stated, the application has been able to identify the dimension and then pick one value or matrix value by itself as total values. So for this instance, we do not have anything else to do. It is the way as it is we have it. We can choose to limit or rearrange it in either ascending or descending order. So if I do ascending order, it's just going to change the analysis from which country has the minimum. We can have filters where we tell the studio to exclude a particular country or not. We'll see how to make items interactive as it is we go forward. So if I come to styling, okay, in styling, I can choose to make, make the bar chart either horizontal or vertical by just clicking, even though I chose the horizontal version. I can limit the number of bars I want. In this instance, it is 10. I can take it to 20 if I want. You just have to give it like more space to be able to display all the information as it is you want. But the purpose of this so that we can all be able to be on the same page, I'll limit it to 10 because it's the same principle, just to show you that that is doable. And then keep the stats to descending order. I can change this to total number of cases as it is we may have had. We won't see any significant change because the values might or are similar. This was just what it is I added by myself. And one of the things I said, or you want to remember, is that whatsoever happens or has been edited or modified in Data Studio or Google Data Studio actually remains in Data Studio. It does not affect the Excel file I use it, or does not affect the website from which we are importing the data from. So this is just creating a bar chart. I can go ahead and decide to create a table. So for creating a table, we have 3 different options. As it is, you can see from the add option or add a chart option, and all of them have what it is they have. So you can have a table in the bar, then you can have the heat map section where you have color codes embedded. So I'll add a heat map table as well so that we see the difference of what it is that happens. So if you would see total depth, with the heat map section, the table is actually picking or coloring the data according to the color codes. So the deeper the color, that's the number of cases or the counts are actually high. So the lesser the number, the lower you actually really have. So for the heat map, it picked the matrix to be depth cases. And then the sorting was done by depth cases. So we take the dimension to be country. And so to be able to manipulate any of these items as it is you have all the available fields to you as you have added or is in the Excel sheet. And to either change your dimension or your matrix, you only need to just drag the value. And then, so if, for instance, now this is the total cases. So you can see that USA currently has about 626,351 total death cases in US. I can decide not to use the metrics as death cases, but go to new cases and just drag and bring new cases. So when I add new cases currently in its background, this is what it is going to happen based on the data. I'll just have to limit descending, ascending. A lot of countries are having less cases. No, not country descending. I should have, okay, let me limit this to 10. And then, should I pick the new? Okay. So if you go to, let's try this per 1 million. Based on the data we have now, we can go to new recovery. And so all this as it is, you'll be seeing, like I'm stating, mostly based on the data as it is we have and what it is that is happening around the world. If we pick the first one where I have total cases, where we can see most of the analysis happening, putting this aside or deleting team, what it is we'll notice is that even though we have US leading, or we have one column, we can also have or add an additional, column to what it is we already have. We have total cases that is happening. So the dimension is country. Like I stated, I'll measure this total cases. You can see that I can add as many as it is I want. So new cases. So let me add death rates, which was what we added. So now you notice that I've added the death rates column as well to the matrix. I can choose to add recovery as well.
Okay. So Mawutor, we can take some 5 minutes, 10 minutes break. Yes. How do I convert individual counts to percentages? Okay, that's a question.
How do you
convert individual counts to percentages? So look, let's take a question. Let's take a break. Let's allow them to grab some. Can we take, it's 1:20 now. Is it possible we come back? Mawutor, what do you think? Should we take like 15 minutes break for them to grab some food and come back? Or what do you think? Is it works for you?
It works for me. Yes.
Okay, good. Mawutor said it works for me. Can we, it's almost 1:22. Can we come back exactly around 1:40? There's enough time to break. What do you think? Please unmute your mic, and this time around, let's talk.
I think that's great.
Claudia, you think that works? Okay.
Yes.
Idris, what do you think? Enya Hayford, what do you think? All the others, what do you think? If it works,
yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay,
yeah.
But are you guys, yes, Omid, are you guys enjoying it? Are you learning something new?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I never knew this thing can be done on Google Sheets.
I know anyone who does. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, and it's very educative. I'm very impressed, and I hope I watch this video like 5 times more.
Oh,
I can
okay,
take everything inside. Yeah.
Yes.
So over to you, Mawutor. You have more work to do. They are learning something new. So please, I want
I'm
you.
happy.
It's been a long. Those of you who joined at 9:30, I'm sure you've
Yeah.
had a long day. So let's take a break. Let's come back at 1:40. Let's continue. There are
Awesome.
other interesting sessions up. And so when you guys like this session, I'm sure we would try and organize a slot, maybe an hour session of something interesting again. So please take a break and we'll come back. Thank you very much. And also, when you come back, we will talk briefly about Education USA, how to study abroad. The US Embassy has some wonderful books available for those who want to study abroad from here. And so please stay tuned for more to come. We have somebody join us from Education USA as well later during the session and to learn more about that. And also please, we are sharing the forms now for this session for feedback. When he's done, you will learn more. You would fill the form for the feedback. Thank you.
So welcome back from the quick break. I hope you're able to get something. I stretched my leg, I took water and some other things. So I'm going to go back into what it is we're doing and then try to answer some of the questions that have come. So the last question that came was, let me just share my screen, more screen. The last question that came was asked, how do I convert individual accounts to percentages? So I'm going to attempt to answer that question now, and then we can continue what it is we were doing. So for us, this was the page on which we were when we left. And the question that actually became is just a mathematical, even though that is not currently in the current list of Excel files that is we are using. That would mean that we will need to add that column to all that it is we are doing. So it's just going to be a simple formula so that we need to be able to add to the already data we have in our data source or the resources. So all that it is we need to do is go back to resources, manage data sources. So this is the current data we are working on. So like as it is I did in the earlier procedures, we just go to edit and then we add that formula as it is the question was asked. So it was asked to find is it the individual accounts or percentages. So if I understand the question, what will mean that you are trying to look for the percentage of active cases, which actually where individual will be the individual countries. So all that as it is I'm going to do will be to write a formula to find a percentage of the counts as it is that are coming per the countries, and then be able to just multiply it by 100. And so to be able to do that, one will be to have the total active cases. So that would be to have total active cases, total active cases divided by total cases. Total cases. And then we'll just multiply it by 100. Okay, so the formula series we have written is actually correct. And so just I'm trying to find the fraction of the total percentages where total cases will be what it is we are looking for. So the formula to make my screen a little bigger. So I just have to name, that would be the individual percentage. Okay, and just save the formula. So active cases divided by the total number of cases. And then we multiply by 100 to be able to find that fraction as it is we are looking for. So when you're done, you just go to finish. You close the editor mode and then go back to your stats. So I'm going to attempt to add that to the matrices as it is we have, and then see what happens. So matrix, where are you? Percentage. Just a moment, let me refresh my browser. No, why is it not showing? Just a moment. I'm just unsure. I saved it well. Oops, I didn't save it. So sorry. The percentage, so to be our total active cases divided by total cases and then multiply by 100. Okay, so let's save. Here's this one, you couldn't save. Let's go to our fields. Okay, individual is already the numbers. So it's already there. So finish. Sure to close this. Just remove some 2 cases. Okay, so it's here. So actually happy here, I just missed. It's okay. So you notice that this what it is. We have per the calculation or the formula it is we have currently inputted. So I'm going to add quickly, now that we found the different things as it is we can manipulate or have or do not have. Like the number of rows that we want the table to be able to have, ascending and all. I'll go to how to style the table, and basically to run through any other thing as it is you want to be able to do. Most of the styling brings out some of the beautification as it is you want to be able to add to either the bar charts, the tables, or any other thing. So we can have conditional formulas if you want to be able to have. But if you go to the header, you can either choose to have the header showing or not. I don't know why one would not choose to have a header. And then most importantly, you notice that when you see at the top of the button or the table where we have the headers, you notice that some of the text are not visible. To make those texts visible, we go for text wrap or wrap text, and then just adjust the table accordingly to be able to have all those texts as visible as possible. We can give a color to the text. So I can choose it to be red. I can choose the font type to something else. I can change the text size to either bigger, make it either bigger or smaller, based on what it is you want to be able to achieve. I think 18 is too much. So let's just keep it to 16. If you come to the table colors, we have 4 options. As it is, we can actually have one manipulating the table. So for the table colors, we can choose to give the color to the header, which is currently set to gray. We can have it be any other color. What to make red stand out. So changing it to yellow, we can have the cells and borders being green. So you realize that all the lines are actually changing. Let me increase this screen size so that you can see well. We can change the cells of the rows to have different colors. And then the even rows. So you can have odd and even rows too. Okay, so if your company actually really have any defined colors or branding colors, this is where you're able to alternate between the labels as it is you can see. So it's just basically going to be the same thing that runs. You can change the labeling. The labeling just are the context as it is we have in the table. So you can also adjust the size to 18 if they are smaller, change the font type if you want to change, and also be able to do any other thing as it is you would love to do. So as we had for the table, the header, we can also have same for the body where maybe certain texts are not visible. So we can actually also have them wrapping up or wrap the text so that everything that you have can actually be visible to you. So you notice that even though I have squeezed them, they are still visible. Or that it is you need to be able to see, you can actually really see them. So this page nation will just be to help you to allow other people that are going to interact with your dashboard at the end of the day be able to scroll through the pages or the folder of items as it is you have. We might not be able to display all the entire results as it is we have. We have over 100 rows of data, but we have limited this table to just 10. If I put this off, you notice that there's a small button beneath the table that has actually gone off. But turning it on would enable people in view mode. That's when the entire work has been exported. You notice that you have this, that the person can actually just click to switch to the next available data where what it is we have. So you notice that the first 10, we had US topping. If you go to the next 20, this is like the next 20 records. We'll go to the next 30 records because I've limited the table to display only 10 items. You can ask it to display more depending on what it is you are working on. But for the purpose of demonstration, I've limited it to just 10. Further styling, if we go down, let's see what again we have down. So all the other things will just be beautification where you have the footer, whether you want it to be compact or not, you know, whether you want to center the text in there or not. This is just helping you arrange that text or the figures that are coming into the table more beautifully. So I'll take this off the page and I'll go to the next one. So in this, I can choose to create a new page.
Okay, Mawutor.
Okay.
Before you go to the next one, can we just have, can we have, as I mentioned, I have Bernice from Education USA. She just needs about 1 minute, 2 minutes to talk about Education USA and the prospects for students. So Bernice, you're welcome. You can on your video, on your mic, and then give them an awesome Education USA presentation.
Thank you, Auntie Florence. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Bernice Afute. I'm an Education USA advisor at the US Embassy in Accra. I'm here with my colleague, Rafiatu Lawal. Rafiatu, can we see you, please? So what we do as Education USA advisors is to provide information on US higher education.
Your line was breaking.
Oh, okay. Please, can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's stabilized.
Okay. So what we do as Education USA advisors is to provide information on US higher education. That means those going for their first degree, those going for their master's, those going for their doctorate. We provide you with the accurate and comprehensive information, and then we also guide you through the process. You could, before COVID, you could come to the embassy, but now we are working remotely. So we're looking at ways to team up with the American corner so we can be there in person to do programs. But aside that, we're also doing a lot of virtual programs on Facebook and on Zoom. So I just wanted you to know about Education USA. I have 1 minute. I'm sure my time is up. I will put our contacts in the chat and hope to connect with some of you. I'm enjoying the graphics. It's a lot of math and formally, but I think I'm enjoying it. So I will stay in the background. I'll put our contacts out there and hope to work with some of you in the future. Auntie Florence, thank you so much. My colleague Rafiatu just showed her face. So we are the two advisors in Accra. And we have 2 colleagues in Kumasi. They go by the name ACE Consult or Education USA Kumasi. Thank you very much, Auntie Florence.
Okay, so if you have, Bernice is on the line, she will drop her contact in the chat. Please, if you have any question about schooling abroad, any information, anything, please, not schooling abroad, in the US, please kindly get in touch with her and she'll help you. Thank you, Bernice, for joining.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful.
Welcome. But this session is not for math students, Bernice. You can join, it's very easy.
I'm enjoying it, actually, I am.
Yes, you missed the end session, which was very simple as well.
In fact, I was a bit confused when I joined. I was like, what are they really teaching? But later I found it very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. The beginning was for non-programmers. Now we just a little bit still into, so I'm sure you join.
Oh, so this is programming, right?
No, it's not programming, it's just data visualization using Google Studio. Very simple, online. Yes, I think because you missed the beginning, so.
That's true. Yeah.
But we have another interesting session later in the day, so.
Okay, thank you for having us.
Sessions. Oh, you're welcome, Rafiatu.
So we'll just be in the background and enjoy the rest of the sessions.
Okay, Mawutor, over to you.
Okay, so I'm not going to do any math again.
Enjoy the math. Yeah, not the math phobians on the line.
So I'm actually done with the math. It was just So it, like she said, rightfully said, from the initial stages, everything as it is we're doing, we're just adding, clicking, and then seeing things happen. But sometimes you want a little more from your data, where you, like, I had a question where somebody wanted to find a percentage of the active cases that are currently happening. Then that you would have to either multiply or divide certain figures or certain numbers that are already in the table, which you might not defaultly have. That was just all I was explaining with the little mathematics I was showing. But I'm done with the maths. I'm not going to go back to any formula again. All I'm going to do is just click and then we go. So I'll go to my next page with the same data. What I'm going to add currently will be to add a geomap, which I did in the first instance. So like I said, in geodata or geomap, you would defaultly should have had some geospatial skills to be able to have all this visualization or interactiveness of the data as we have. So I only went to add a chart, went to GeoCharts, and boom, I've been able to generate a geomap of all the data as we currently having based on our current covered data. So if I view this data, and this is all as we need to do, we don't have to do much again on this. And like I said, this is interactive. If I hover, like I'm saying, currently the US is stopping the charts with over 35 million. And we have other countries. So if I hover or click any of them, you realize that their statistics actually pops up, and you don't need any hard skill to be able to have this done or embedded in your dashboard. So this is about GeoMap. I'll add a new page so that we just take some of the other things as it is we can basically just do with the data as it is we have currently. We can have bubble map. So the next as it is I'll go would be to do a pie chart. If you're a lover of pie charts, this is also do it beautifully for you. And all the things as it is I have taken time to explain systematically applies to any other thing that is currently going to happen right now. So from the data, you realize that the dimension is still countries and others, the total metrics. You can pull any data as it is you want to be able to do the calculation on. If you don't want to use the total cases and you want to use total depth cases, you just have to replace the total depth or the total cases with whatever metric data as it is you may want to have. And then you have the pi data mapped out beautiful for you. You can still go to styling and then choose how many slides you want, how you want it to look like. If you want to even create a donut chart out of your pie charts, you're able to do it from here. So your labelings, you can change the formula or the colors of the labelings as it is you want, like I was demonstrating in the other one. We can have a change of the background to something else if you so wish to do, and how it is you want it to be. And so these are just all you attempting to style that you want. So creating a pie chart gives us a window into creating a donut chart. So if we had a new page where I'd wanted to create a donut chart directly, I could just click on donut charts, and that will bring it directly for me. The two look similar, but one, you have to create the chart first and then decide to now edit the styling to look like a donut chart. I would still go ahead and add one more so that I'll make time for questions, so we can take questions and I'll attempt to answer them after some few more sections. I would do the tree map. If you are using tree maps in whatever as it is you want to be able to do. So some of this as well will also be based on some of the knowledge as it is you have. So in this data currently, So it behaves as if it's a heat map. So the color intensity tells you which one is the most affected area or not. We can actually limit the counts so that we can have more visible items. So in this case, I can still limit it to 10 so that we can see the top 10 countries in this tree mat format, where I'm having a heat map section where the deeper the color, the more the cases as it is you can have. So the styling will still be the same. You can change the font sizes, the color sizes, the background color, and anything as it is you wish to do. I've spent so much time in doing equally doing the same. So the last one I'm going to do again will just be something I did in the demo where I did a bar chart or a table. I added a heat, a geo chart, added a scorecard by it. I embedded a video, like you see, which I used that video from the American Embassy, the hand wash challenge, and then be able to now show you how to brand. So branding is basically you being importing that logo into your dashboard as it is you want. So I'll create a simple dashboard that will be similar to what it is we had first. So one, based on this data that is currently in the database, I'm going to create a bar chart. Using total number of cases where US is currently leading the chart. I'll add a geo chart to be able to tell more stories per the data, since it's more easier to see or to interact with items than reading figures as it is we have. So in this area where they have also shown us to wash our hands as frequently as possible, why I chose the video from the embassy that shows us how to wash our hands frequently under water for at least 20 seconds. So you go to YouTube or share the share option. If it was Vim or anywhere as it is you have the file, it's just you going or copying the URL version of the video link. So I would embed. So this is the embed URL link. So you can actually embed anything as it is you want to be able to embed. So I click on it. It gives me the embed option where I would paste the URL link. It does its own things in the background, and then it brings the video right into my dashboard. I can add a text. These are things which are the normal things as it is we do in our normal word processing, where you can add a shape or a line, text or a picture. So I would add a text to this, and I've used COVID data 2021. So for this, I would center the text, increase the text size to about 20. Change the text fonts to something else, something that I highlighted. And this will be more visible. So changing the text fonts. And then I would increase I think I should go to about 44. Okay, so I would now go ahead and add a logo to the page for the purpose of branding or taking credit for the dashboard as it is I am doing. So to add an image, there are two options. Like I said, you can either upload it from your computer if you already have the image on your computer, where you do the upload from your computer, of a URL, that will probably mean that the image is already online. So for this, I'm going to use the logo for the events website. This is the logo as it is. I would want to use. So all I need to do would be to open image in a different tab. Then I'll copy the URL for the image. So when I come to add by URL, it will effortlessly bring the logo for me to the page. So can have this sitting beautifully here. Let me just, I want this thing to be more. It's not as big as I want. Let's go to 16. The next method is also one of the things I said is I also thought would be to add scorecards that lay more emphasis on some of the data, or you want to be able to pinpoint or point certain data, or make it easy for certain people to be able to relate to certain data as it is you have. So I can choose wherever it is I want to put it, either here. It's up to you how it is you want your dashboards to look like. You're not limited by me. So one, this is a total number of cases, the entire world, which we have. I can leave it here. I can add a different scorecard. And change so you can basically just change the metrics, which I said is the value as it is we want to be able to display from here. So when you click on any of them, it pops out what it is you can actually edit in the rightmost corner. So since I already have total cases, maybe I want to look for total recovery. Yep. So I'll just replace that with total recovery. This time I'm not adding, how do you call it? And most importantly, if for this instance where the data as it is I am using, when you actually use data that wasn't data generated from you, you want to ensure that you actually credits back or redirect the link back to where it is you are actually borrowing those data from. So in crediting this data as it is from the source as it is we have, basically it's just adding a text if we want to have, and then just copy the URL link as it is we did, and then add same. Since that is not our main focus, we can reduce that a little. And I can visualize this. So in visualizing this becomes the dashboard as it is you would have, which you can actually really share. I can do extra things. I'm looking at the time. I would have shown what we have as time series where we want to find trends in the data. So in time series, one will be able to, by the graph, either using the line bar or something else, to be able to tell where maybe at what point in time, maybe there was a spark in the data as it is we haven't. So if, let's say, for the entire year of 2020, maybe March was when we had more cases in US or in Ghana or any other country in the world, series time chart will be able to tell that. So in the folder as it is I shared earlier, you'll notice that there is a file that is named time series that has been prepared formally purposely for it to help you understand when you upload that formula and how the time series chart works. So when you add that file to Data Studio, you just need to go to add a chart, go to time series, and then be able to add all the properties as it is you want to be able to add up appropriately, and then you'll be able to see what it is you want to be able to see. We can do more by the styling of the page. I can change the color of the background to suit what it is I want to do. You can even change the feel of all the informations on the page where we have. I can change the stylings to like the theme colors to what best suits my organization's dependent on my organization's colors. You're able to alternate that as well. And this, like I said, you can actually share with anyone around the world. The person does not need to physically be at your presence. That's one of the advantages I like about Google Data Studio. That means that whatsoever as it is I am doing here currently, somebody can be sitting in Volta region where I come from and still be contributing to this data if there's something as it is you wanted to do. So to be able to share the access or give people access to be able to either view the data, the dashboard as it is you are working on, all you need to do is to just go to share. And if you are familiar with how Google and its tools or other applications work, or how to share Google documents, it's just the same formula where you enter the person's email address, and then you can give them the permission to either just view the data as it is you are sharing with the person, or you can give the person the access to edit the documentation. When you give the person access to edits, that will mean that the person can also do any other thing as it is you are doing. If there's a mistake, the person can correct the mistake. If there was something the person needed to add, if there's an additional information the person needed to add, the person can equally do whatsoever as it is the person wants to be able to do. So I would bring today's section to a close here. So like I see, this can just be a simple dashboard. We can make it more complicated, but not to load us with too many things. We can practice some of the basics, which will be anything as it is you need to master the tool. You can reach out to any of us to be able to give you any further assistance when you have any challenge in trying to manipulate or use the system, and we'll gladly help you. So one of the things I said is that it's very intuitive, it's very interactive. You can see is whilst I move my mouse, I can see the data on the geomap. I've embedded a video onto my dashboard. When I play, like I said in the initial stages, it will still play based on the video you have on YouTube or Vimeo or any other video platform. I added a logo for the purpose of branding. I changed the color of the team. I changed the size. I've added scorecard. I showed us how to add icons and what not have you. So I'd want to bring today's section to a halt here. I don't know if we still have any questions I'll be able to take.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Stephen. It's been an awesome journey to learning with Google Studio. It's the platform that I'm very sure lots of students can use. I think my first question would be, how do you export? So when you share, people come to the dashboard straight. What if you want to do more static? Is it possible? I am a journalist. I want to be able to export the information and then add it to my online blog or add it to somewhere, or even I'm a student, I've done some analysis with it. I want to be able to export this and add it to my thesis or my research work. How do you do this in terms of exporting? And also please I've seen some questions what are the exporting formats, PDF, PJ, and others, all the other formats? Keep your questions. After the questions, we also like to know your experience, what you think about the session, very interactive, and let's hear what you say. Thank you.
Would that be all the questions as it is I may have had? Are there more questions, or I can take this two for now?
Let's take this, and then when some come out.
Yes. Okay. So thank you. So those are great questions. I don't know how come I missed them. I should have mentioned them earlier, but Data Studio gives us, like I said, a lot of flexibility and scalability for us to do as much as it is we want to do from just the web page. So one, you are able to even embed the entire view as it is you have, even on the website. That is one. So all the data as it is you have in Data Studio here, if you had your own blog sites where you wanted to embed this dashboard, you are able to do so. You can equally also download the format as it is you have in a PDF format. You notice that you have the embed reports button when you go to file. So when you go to the embed format, it gives you the code as it is you would need to help you embed that file in the website if you understand what the embedding procedure means. So all you need to basically just do, if the heights and the widths are accurate for you, or you want to use a URL link or whatsoever the platform as it is you have, you would just need to copy this code, embed it in any other website or application as it is you have, and you would have, as you have here on that blog page as it is. But currently you can download this as you would have seen into a PDF format when the work is done, if you want to be able to add same to your reports.
Okay, I have another question. Apart from embedding the video, what other media or things that one can import into the workspace?
So
Idrisu.
Okay, thanks, Idrisu, for that question. Most importantly, I have attempted to look at most of the two formats of media that one could actually want to import into a dashboard, which would be an image and video most importantly. Why I have attempted to add a logo from a website, which you can either even have from on your desktop. So that also means that once I'm able to do this, you are also able to import an image. If it's a picture of anything as it is you want to be able to import, all you need to do, you realize that you have the image section that helps you bring that image you want to have. So it could be a PNG format or a JPEG format. You're able to either bring it right from your desktop into the Data Studio to be able to help you add that beautification as it is you want to be able to add to the dashboard. Then I intentionally also showed you how to also copy images by using the URL, where all you need to do will just be to find the URL of the image you are looking for, whether it's a picture, whether it's a logo or an icon. You just have to just copy the URL of that icon or the item appropriately, come and post it in the URL section, and then it will gladly import that file format for you. For the video format, this is where you would have to go to the embed or the URL embed. Okay, that you can use the image section. So you go to the URL embed, and then wherever it is you have the video, you just, once you click on the platform, it brings another window for you where you can add the external URL, and then you can import appropriately that media as well into the space. Thank you.
Okay, someone wants to ask, please, are there any other external resources that you can recommend for us to use for further practice? This is still from Idrisu.
So if you downloaded the file I shared, you notice that I had used just 2 of the files in the folder that I had shared. But most importantly, these are all the data files as it is I had used in the files, and not to decredit where I got the data from. Data file, I hope you saw it. I got it from the Stats Tech Academy. I need to accredit them. That was the data source from where I got the data from accordingly. And then you can play around all the things as it is I have said. So I have clearly made the attempts to go through the procedure individually or systematically, so that irrespective of what it is you want to be able to do, like what it is I showed on the first, you notice that this kind of a person had added a lot of things onto one dashboard, but any procedure this person had done was basically just to follow all the principles as it is I had taught, to either color or change the color of the table. The first one, as you can see, is just the time series chart as it is you've done. The upper one is adding images and scorecards to what it is the person had. If you looked beneath, the person added a geo chart. This is a bar chart. This is an extra scorecard. And so I have taken time to take all the individual components one after the other and then explain to us how we can manipulate those information, so that irrespective of what it is we want to be able to achieve, we can, but not just because I have shown a way to do a static dashboard. I didn't come with that intention, but be able to transfer the skills as much as possible, so that even without my presence, if you followed duly what it is I had done, you'll notice that whatever it is you want to be able to do, you can apply that knowledge in what it is you want to be able to achieve. Thank you.
Awesome. This is very, very, very good. And I think that, please, can you kindly share what you've learned so far? I see a lot of people online, Domokai, Emmanuel, Kofi, Wanda, Linda, Loretta, Muniritu, Nina. I see a couple of people, Parkwesi. What have you learned so far? Recommended websites to learn more. Okay, this is by Emmanuel. And then Idrisu, so on what platform and when will this session video? So we would put it on our African Digital Skills platform on YouTube. So please subscribe on Facebook to African Digital Skills Conference. Please search for it. We will put it here and then Mobile Web Ghana as well. So please like us on Facebook, Twitter, and also on YouTube as well. On YouTube, African Digital Skills, we have other sessions. We have interesting sessions that we've done in the past. So this is a pre-conference to our annual conference, African Digital Skills, which we did last year. We had over 1,000 people participating with over 45 trainers from across the globe. This year we will do it in November, but we had a request to do this specific need for online students, and it's the reason why we are doing this. Any other question? I'm going to type African Digital Skills Conference. We will have exactly 2:40. We will have 5 minutes break, 2:45. In the next session, which is the last session, which you don't want to miss, doing predictive analysis using data and a case study, predicting heart failure. Stay tuned. Mawutor, thank you very much for always being available to host a session for us, for Taweb, for our partners as well. We are very grateful. And thank you very much, everyone who has joined. Please visit African Digital Skills Conference. Our website is there. And also, please join us, especially on social media, where we can have interactive sessions together. Thank you. We have just a 5 minutes break. We are on at 2:45 exactly for the last session. You don't want to miss it. Thank you, Mawutor. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Florence. Thank you, everybody who joined.